Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever, where I need to turn on the music, otherwise it's going to be very, very quiet. Let's just go ahead and get the music kicked up to 69, a nice number. And let's get into introducing our players. We have Team 1 at the top right, Team 2 at the bottom left. And we will start, as always, on Seton's Clutch. Didn't mention that. Seton's Clutch, normal map, 15,000 reclaim, most of it right here. We will start with the red air player, who is a Cybran going first land by the name of Solar. And he is going to be roading up the air portion for Team 1. Then we have the rock player for Team 2, a yellow Aeon, best faction, of course, going first land by the name of Killer Bishy 0. And then we can move on to the middle, where we have a pink player going by the name of Willow's Duality. It's me! Ooh. And I went first land. Then we're going to go ahead and look to the last player, a blue Cybran going by the name of Duma Mods going first land. And then we can go ahead and get into introducing Team 2 with the air player for Team 2 starting it off for us. Of course, it is a orange Seraphim by the name of Printer going first land. Then we move on to the rock position for Team 2. We have a Cyan Aeon, best faction, going first land by the, first air by the name of Troubled Panda. Then for the front position for Team 2, we have ourselves a red, crimson red, blood red, Seraphim by the name of Arma 473. Last but not least for the entire game, certainly not least as he is the highest rated player here, a gray Cybran by the name of Shady Socks going first land. And with all of our players introduced, we can get into the game to see exactly how they plan to murderlize each other. And it should be a grand old time indeed. We, of course, have to look at the rating of the game. It's a 93% balanced game, a very balanced game. And we, of course, have players ranging from the ratings of about 1,200 all the way up to 2,100. Two very high-rated players for Team 1 will be Duma Mods and Solar, of course, running the air and beach position. For Team 2, we have one exceptionally high-rated player. It is Shady Socks, of course, 2,100 rated, playing the beach position. We'll have to see if he can abuse the beach position better. It is, of course, the weakest slot on the map, other than maybe front, but front still has the possibility to go either way. But in the navies, you generally see a tend to go for beach player losing, rock player winning. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Willow's Duality and Arma. People have told me I should just say me or I. No, I'm gonna say my name in the third person. Willow talk in third person. Willow Strong are here in the middle, getting some reclaim. We'll have to check in a little bit, see who does better on the reclaim front out of these two teams. Very even rating disparity between the front two players, both 1,200 rated players. As far as the ratings for each individual role, it is looking like both beach players are massively higher rated than their opponents. 1,300 versus 1,800, 1,300 versus 1,800, and 2,100 versus 1,200. In the air positions, we have a 1,700 versus a 1,300. And in the, that's about it. Or yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So if you're looking at this from a ratings perspective, air and the air should be won by Team 1 pretty handily, but of course ratings can lie. The fighting in the middle continues with his Duality pouring some shots into the column of Arma. Gonna continue to walk and grab more reclaim. Both players are. Some tanks out from Arma gonna possibly be getting a run by. As far as the drops for transports, Troubled Panda got out his drop exceptionally quickly and has already managed to build a factory and get up all of the mass points on his island. The other island a bit more contested. It looks like Shady Socks may have shot down a transport at some point or something of the like. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like a transport's actually been shot down, so neither player going quite as heavy on the transport rush from the looks of it at that point. In the middle, we have some more fighting going on. Let's go ahead and here at pretty much the 5-minute mark, let's check on the reclaim numbers between the front players. 3,000 reclaim for Willow's Duality versus Arma at 4.6 thousand, so not a huge difference. Arma is winning out in the reclaim game. These two tanks that I was talking about getting run by, going to be able to kill off a mass extractor. Looks like they may have also picked up an engineer at some point. Yep, they did. They picked up this engineer right there, and that is going to set Willow's Duality behind a little bit, but not too horribly much. And we have a transport finishing up for Killer Bishy 0. Going to be able to get that transport laden with some engineers possibly and take the island. We don't have a transport out from Shady Socks just yet. Hasn't decided to opt for that. Just focusing on getting up enough interceptors to stop any kind of expand to this island, it looks like. We have a bit of factory spam going on for the middle players. As far as expansion and economies go, let's just check on the 6-minute economies, I guess. Overall, it looks like Team 2 might be slightly ahead as they've accrued a tiny bit more mass this game, but they've also managed to grab a bit more reclaim than their opposition, so that might be what's accounting for the slight mass lead for Team 2, but the team's very even so far. A bit of a skirmish popping off between the comms and units of Arma and Willow. Going to be able to see these units lay into each other. Willow microing back the Auroras as Arma tries to press in to get more damage done onto them. Auroras, of course, having that range that you kind of need to abuse. A lot of Zooies coming out, meaning the micro for Aurora is a little bit different. You have to keep the Auroras moving or you're going to have issues. We have a game pause for some reason or another. Arma and Willow's Duality losing quite a bit of health on the comm, both getting knocked down to about 6,000 HP. And going to continue fighting over here. We have some forward factories being built up by Willow, as well as forward factories being built up by Arma. So these players going at it, this mid-fight happening quite heavily, really early on, both sides getting in some action. Very aggressive play out from Arma. Arma gaining a lot of territory here, has engineers in the back to grab up the remaining reclaim. Going to be able to get a lot of reclaim out of that one, already sitting at a reclaim lead over Willow of about 4,000, which is exceptionally significant. Gonna be only rising as more of these wrecks that are spawned by default get scooped up, and Willow looks like he's gonna be falling behind a nice little bit here. Over to this island, it looks like there's an attempted Zooey drop gonna happen, or not Zooey, Fervor drop gonna happen out from Troubled Panda, but the transports get shot down prematurely, so the transport's not going to be able to get out here and deal significant damage to the economies of any of these players. No drops happening as of the moment. We have a drop of some units, not any engineers though, for Killer Bishy over on his island. Doesn't have an engineer, so can't get a factory up, but is going to be a lot harder to land a transport and get some damage done for this chariot out from Shady Socks. Not going to quite be able to get that. A little bit weird seeing a chariot carrying Cybern engineers so early into the game. Guessing somebody gifted him. That would have had to be Troubled Panda of all players. So it looks like he might be able to drop this and maybe get up a factory or something, but as long as the transport gets back here, picks up some engineers, and gets to that island, it does look like Killer Bishy should have control of this island. As long as he keeps on top of microing his units here, he should be fine. The transport trying to find a spot to land, but not quite able to make it happen, as more interceptors show up for Killer Bishy. Also, some naval units starting to get engaged in this southern pond. We have some T1 bombers coming in here, dealing significant damage to the spam out from Willow's Duality. Willow trying to move the spam around to get less damage done to them. 2 engineers going down to that. These bombers kind of just don't have an answer. Some mobile AA starting to show up for Willow's Duality as he's trying to protect his units from all of this damage. And the bombers eventually going to be taken down by the ASFs out from Duma mods. C. Solar is just now got his T3 factory finished, has a T3 power on the way. It looks the same is happening for Printer, just a tad bit behind though, as he does not quite have the T3 factory finished. Gonna be a possibly 1 to 2 ASFs worth of production behind his opponent, but that is not an insurmountable disadvantage, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. The air is going to be a little bit pivotal in this match. Shady Sox has a lot of frigates now showing up to the production line of Killer Bishy. Looks like Killer Bishy might be knocked out of the naval game quite early as more and more units start to pour out of this base from Shady Sox. Even some T1 bomber spam now coming out from Shady Sox. The middle is still being held at this point. Looks like a T2 factory upgrade going on very close to the front line. It's going to be a dangerous play, a risky play. If this gets killed off before it can get off too many units, it's going to be very painful for Willow in this match. We have a double transports laden with a bunch of fervors. By the looks of it, they are going to be spotted out by the frigate. Is the air response going to be in time? Looks like interceptors already on their way to go try and deal with these transports. Some interceptors out from Troubled Panda also trying to help out over here. A factory going down for Killer Bishy. He is slowly getting strangled out of the naval game. Has 3 frigates versus about 6 in the vicinity, so that is just kind of an unwinnable naval fight. These fervors don't get to land, right? Like, I don't care where you place the drop order. There's going to be enough interceptors, not ASF, showing up in time to kill off these transports, I would imagine. The transports still coming in, though. They may be able to get off a little bit of a drop. I'm not sure. I'm surprised they're getting off they're getting so far. The interceptors locking onto the transports, but the transports just seemingly going right through the interceptors, not caring about the damage. Both transports down to about a third HP, and one of them gets its drop off. The other one drops just in time. So all of the fervors land. Of course, the wrecks of those transports did some damage, but now a T2 mech is gonna go down. Possibly more. We could see a lot more damage happening. I'd like to see some hunters coming out from this land factory, but the comm of Duma Mods gonna try and get there. Getting blocked from his own engineers, that's gonna be difficult to deal with. There's more fervor fire constantly coming out. The first 4 mechs is all T2 at this point, about to go down. That's gonna be heavily damaging the economy of Duma Mods, and it looks like he's managed to force out Troubled Panda from the Navy, but Troubled Panda managed to get a bunch of engineers up here to the top left-hand corner, and I don't believe Team 1 has any idea of what's going on here. No, they do not, so this could be dangerous if he manages to get up enough factories. He's hurt the economy of Duma Mods, so Duma Mods might not be producing as many frigates as he was, might be focusing on getting that economy back up to a stable position. And if that is the case, it's going to be way more difficult for him to deal with this if this manages to get any kind of ground gained. In the middle, we had a bunch of Medusa just kill off the T2 HQ that just finished for Willow's Duality. That is absolutely heartbreaking for Willow's Duality as he loses that T2 tech, gonna be way behind, and T2 is already finished up for Arma, so Arma's gonna be able to get quite a bit done here. Bombers coming in now for Shady Sox. Of course, Aurora's having that low hit point pool means that all T1 bombers can one-shot Aurora, and it's just really painful, the attritional damage going down because of all these bombers. And it's going to mean that Willow's Duality is just massively behind the curve. Starts another T2 upgrade here in the back. Gonna have to see if he can get that online fast enough to be a real factor. Checking in at the reclaim numbers here at the 12-minute mark, we can see that Team 2 has managed to grab about, what is that, 5,000 more reclaim than their opponents, but overall mass generation looks like it's going in the favor of Team 1, as Team 1 is only 1,000 mass total behind, so they've generated more mass. Overall, let's go ahead and check on the individual economies of these players. We have 58 mass a second for Willow's Duality, Killer Bishy at 63, 91 for Duma Mods, Seasolar at 138, Printer sitting at a cool 122, Troubled Panda at 110, 77 for Arma, and it looks like 100 or so for Shady Sox. So overall, the team economies are looking like there's a slight lead for Team 1, I would guess, since they've managed to keep up in the mass generation, but right now it looks like Team 2 is running away with it, getting a lot more mass per second than their opposing team. Over here we have T2 finishing up. There was a T2 support factory already queued up over here that didn't manage to get killed by that push, so we have T2 on the front line now for Willow's Duality. We also have T2 on the front line for Arma, so these players working quite hard to fight each other. Arma now trying to step his toes into the water, trying to help out his ally Troubled Panda, who is forced out of the water, or so we thought, as he's got up a lot of factories and is spamming out frigates at an alarming rate. And honestly, there's not that many frigates being spammed out by Dumamods. He thought he won the naval game, and I guess he just hasn't done enough scouting to find out about this up here in the top left-hand corner. You gotta send frigates everywhere when you win Navy, otherwise players will do this kind of stuff and get right back into it and fight you. But it does look like these factories that were built up by Arma are going to be a wasted investment, as they're going down rapidly to the frigates built up by Dumamods. There are some torpedo bombers coming in to try and help out with this. Torpedo bombers built up by Shady Socks, going to try and be able to protect his allies' naval investment, but I don't believe it's going to be quite enough, as this factory dies as long as you right-click it. I don't think the torpedo bombers kill it off in time. Solar showing up with his ASF is going to try and help out here. A frigate manages to come out of the factory for Arma, but is going to be killed off in a rather quick succession. And now we see it. Now we should be able to tell. There's a bunch of frigates out over here for Troubled Panda, and Team 1 is going to need to react to all of those frigates showing up. Gonna definitely know where they're coming from. Just needs to get his frigate production back online. Looks like frigates already producing again, along with destroyers for Dumamods. Sea Solar doing quite well for himself in the air, I believe. He's sitting at 13 ASFs versus printers on 12, so never mind, he's only ahead by one ASF, and one of those ASF is out of fuel. Or maybe that was an interceptor. Yeah, I think it's actually this interceptor that's out of fuel. One veterancy interceptor got one kill. Very, very effective interceptor. Here in the middle, Arma has managed to get the gun upgrade on the comm, along with T2, it looks like, on the comm. Yep, and is pushing into Willow's Duality. Willow's Duality's comm is losing quite a little bit of health, but there's a lot of units here for Willow's Duality, and there's not quite so many for Arma, so Arma in a bit of a dangerous position as the units shift G out from Willow's Duality, and it's going to be focusing on that comm. Going to be getting a lot of damage done to it in a short amount of time, I believe. The comm is going down, about to be at about 10,000 HP, and is going to be forced back by this. The Fervor Fire coming in, dealing tons of DPS to this comm. Comm needs to dodge some of these shells, down to 8,000 health as he's forced back even further. A lot of these units out of Willow's Duality, though, are going to be dying to the frigates out from Shady Socks. One goes down in the crossfire. A tactical missile comes in and manages to kill off the forward support factory, but this tactical missile has also killed off a mass extractor, seemed to do damage, which is being repaired to this T2 HQ back here. So that TAC missile battery out from our red Seraphim Arma has managed to get a decent amount of damage done, over 2,000 mass killed and 2 veterancy on that tactical missile launcher. But it does look like some TMD is starting to go up for Willow's Duality, and going to be able to protect against that for at least now. Sea Solar decides to drop his engineer up to the front, going to be building an Omnisensor array. And right now, it's looking like the weak points of the map over here for Team 1 are going to be both Willow's Duality and Killer Bishy having a lot of trouble in their respective roles, not quite able to stack up against the competition. Over here in the northern pond, the destroyers out from Dumamods are going to have to put in extra work to deal with all of these frigates spammed out by Troubled Panda. There's a ton of production up here. It's going to be Dumamods fighting for his life, going to need to get a lot of factories up very quickly and a lot more frigates. Gonna need frigates to fight this off. You can definitely micro this destroyer quite heavily, get a lot of kills onto frigates, but you gotta be careful. If the frigates get inside range of that destroyer, the destroyer is not gonna be doing very much, and as the destroyer is running away, it's only the torpedoes doing any kind of damage to any of these ships. It's gonna be very dangerous for Dumamods. Dumamods now spamming up some torpedo defense, gonna be trying to get up anything he can to keep his T2 HQ alive. The Salem Destroyer gonna take a little while to die, but is going to die to these frigates. Corsairs now coming out. Are we seeing torpedo bombers? Torpedo bomber production out from Solar starting up now. We haven't really talked about it, but Killer Bishy has also been quite messed up over here. Looks like there was even a drop with some engineers to try and get a forward base set up by Shady Socks. It was shut down by the likes of Killer Bishy, but he's completely been locked out of the Navy and is in a difficult position now as he's trying to use torpedo bombers to get himself enough room to build up, I guess, naval factories. Over here, all of these frigates coming in, gonna start firing on the destroyers and possibly even gonna be going for the T2 HQ, but it looks like the air is about to start forcing off these frigates. The frigate numbers are slowly dwindling out for Troubled Panda. There's a lot more ASFs from the look of it for Solar at the moment. Solar sitting on 31 ASFs versus Printer sitting on 31. Never mind, they are neck and neck, but the problem is these ASFs are going to get a horrible turn against Solar. Solar is going to kill a lot of them with his first turn, and now it looks like Printer's in a rough position, losing ASFs at a horrible amount. That's a ton of ASFs going down, and that means that Solar managed to kill off all 31 ASFs for Printer using he gained ASFs during that fight. He built more ASFs than he lost during that fight. Now at 33, and that's going to lock Team 2 out of the air. The air, the only position that's going well for Team 1 at the moment. Here in the middle, we have a fight between the comms of Arma and Willow is going to go down, suiciding into the comm of Arma, trying to possibly get the kill with these point defense and the comm of his own, but nano repair, T2, and of course the gun upgrade just means that was an unwinnable fight for Arma. Alright, let's see. We have a bunch of air units now showing up for Solar. Gonna be able to use those to force the naval aspirations of Troubled Panda to scale back a little bit. Troubled Panda back into the naval game, though, still has all of these factories up here in the northwest corner, and also has managed to get T2 himself and is building destroyers, so may be able to hold his own in the Navy against Duma mods. Overall, economically, let's check in between these two players. We have 180 mass a second versus 198, so Troubled Panda ahead economically, as he should be on the rock position. Let's check between Sea Solar and, of course, Printer. 302 versus Printer just gave all of his stuff to his ally. Shady Socks getting the entire base of Printer. And that is... wow, that is going to be... That's going to be changing the dynamic of this game quite a lot. Shady Socks, the highest rated player in the game, getting all of the base of Printer. Can we go ahead and see why they said that? Let's see. Printer, give Shady and leave. Troubled Panda asking Printer to leave. I'm guessing this is because of lag reasons. He claimed I was lagging during the match and I left after I died. But the lag continued after I left, so I'm guessing that I wasn't necessarily the cause of that. So now Printer is looking to leave, I would guess. Solar is using his ASFs to hunt down the ASFs that have been newly acquired by Shady Socks, and Printer is just going to move his comm around a little bit. If he is intending to leave the game, he is not quite Control K'd yet, so that may be a little bit sus. It looks like... Control K into their ASFs, please. Oh my, this is so dirty. This isn't cool. If you're gonna leave like this, don't like use your comm explosion to try and weigh the results of the game. That's just dirty. Printer trying, I mean, if he wanted to kill off the ASFs, now would be the time to Control K. You may not get another good chance. Oh, come on. I mean, if you're gonna do it, do it. Oh my gosh, he kills off like, I don't know, that's like 15 ASF. Oh man, that is just not, that's not very nice. Alright, so, overall game state. Just looking at it, there's a lot more mass per second coming in for Team 2. Team 2 heavily in the lead as far as the economic side of the game goes. The navies are starting to kind of equalize, though. Both the navies for Team 1 starting to gain the upper hand from the looks of it. The air heavily in favor of Team 1, so they need to use and abuse that to try and get a hold on this game. Solar doing quite a bit with his air advantage. Gonna be focusing heavily on this northern pond to try and get that for his team. I didn't mention it earlier, the base of Willow's Duality went over to Solar, so that is probably the last time I have to say my own name this cast. T3 on the way for Arma, could possibly see him try and go for a chicken or something. He is getting quite a bit of eco underneath him, so could go for a chicken if he felt like it. A bunch of hives going to be queued up over here for Shady Socks. Going to be able to get up a lot of build power over in this general area. Also going to be going for a quantum gateway. Going to be getting a lot of eco if he starts getting up RAS comms. And right now this game is definitely Air Force versus Navy. That's what we're looking at. And right now the Air Force is having quite a day with all of these torpedo bombers being able to kind of shut the northern pond out of the game. It's going to be difficult for Troubled Panda to do anything about this. There's just not enough ASFs for Team 2 at the moment to be able to just kind of pile drive through all of this. If they go for the torpedo bombers, they just lose the air fight. If they go for the ASFs, they just lose the air fight because both of these players are going to micro the air properly, and of course Solar has more. At least I'm pretty sure he does. He has 74 ASFs versus the likes of Shady Socks sitting at 43, so a 30 ASF advantage. You can win that fight if you micro better than your opponent, but right now Solar is just focused on the air micro, and I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes that are going to result in a horrible loss on that front. Over here, it does look like we have knowledge of the cruisers, going to be able to shift G on top of those. Is that the command that is given? I'm not quite sure, but it does look like a lot of torpedo bombs are going to be dropped into these cruisers, going to be able to kill off a lot of cruisers. If all of the cruisers die, then this is going to be a difficult position for Troubled Panda, as he's not really going to have an air defense whatsoever. There's also Corsairs, which can come in and just wreak havoc on your production and on your economy, so going to be very difficult to deal with this. Probably needs to get up a bunch of static anti-air as soon as possible. T3 if it's an available option. Gonna need Sam's out the wazoo if he wants any chance to stay in the naval game, but even then I'm not sure if it's possible. You could just right click on the HQ over there for Troubled Panda and kill it off. The engineers managed to get up to this top left hand corner. He's gonna try and build up again, but I don't think Team 1 is gonna make the mistake of not checking that a second time. It does look like they have an idea that there is a naval factory up there. Might just want to dispatch a couple of units to go up there and deal with that really quickly. And Shady Socks has queued up a nuke launcher, which is very interesting. He has anti-nuke already finished. Do we have an anti-nuke for any of the players on Team 1? We do not as of the moment. I'm not seeing one here. Not in the general anti-nuke positions. We're not seeing any, so that might be the reason why this is kind of difficult to deal with. The torpedo bombers coming in managed to kill off the T2 HQ for Troubled Panda. Troubled Panda in just a difficult position. There is, of course, some T1 naval factories out from Arma now trying to help out that northern pond, but at this point, I would say probably focus on the southern pond. That's the only one that you have a great chance of winning. And, of course, Shady Socks is going to have the economy to spam out a lot of boats. The nuke launcher already finished. We just saw it queued just like a minute ago. And it's already done, already getting assisted from all of these hives. Most of the hives upgraded to the max level of hives. Going to be able to get a lot of build assistance on that nuke. And Team 1 still doesn't have an anti-nuke anywhere. We don't see the nuke launcher just yet, so this is going to need to be spotted very soon if they want any hopes of defeating it. Let's go ahead and check in on the air game once again. Of course, Shady Socks trying to catch up with Solar. Printer was the one who Control K'd to kill them off. Kill off ASF. 107, that is a 3-to-1 ratio of ASF. So many ASFs now out for Solar. He probably doesn't even need to build more. He's just building more just because you kind of just do that. You never want to risk falling behind in air. Torpedo bombers now making their way over to the south, flying over the middle base. Not quite the smartest idea in my opinion, as the The middle base, not the most important, or the middle base having AA, but I guess he has enough air to just kind of lose units and not really care much about it. A large push down into the production area of Shady Sox going to be annihilated. Most of this, of course, is Aurora. Aurora not very good against frigates. Takes a lot of Auroras to just kill one frigate. So that's going to possibly swing the tides of the Southern Navy into the hands of Shady Sox. Shady Sox having an inordinate amount of Siren-class cruisers over here as well. These cruisers, unlike most cruisers, are very good in ship-to-ship combat. Going to be able to fight with the surface naval units of Bishy. As the torpedo bombers fly and wreak havoc upon the lands, we of course have this area over here being bombed by Corsairs. Going to be able to completely clean up this island. May even see Duma mods or even Solar just try and take this island. A few extra mass points never hurt anyone. As the fighting continues. Over here in the middle, though, a massive bombardment out from Duma mods towards the middle base held by Arma. Arma gonna have to fall back with the comm. These Salem's doing an inordinate amount of damage. Of course, it's not Seraphim or UEF, so we're not gonna see a bunch. It's not even Aeon. You don't really have options of getting mass tactical missiles or mobile missiles to kind of deal with this. A bunch of T2 artillery being spammed up by Arma, that would be an effective way to deal with this. If he can get enough up at any given time, if he can get up, I don't know, 10 to 20 of them, he can definitely start warding off the Navy from attacking his base, at least Cyber Navy. May even see some tech acquisition, may ask for the tech of one of his Aeon teammates, get out some torrents. At least I would, because I am a whore for torrents. Yes, brother I am casting my own game. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I did die. I was the first one to die, so if that makes it less problematic. Also, good to see you, Duelist. We have, wow, this is just so many. How many does he have? He has 21 Sirens. That's a ridiculous amount, and they're just spread out everywhere, just doing so much damage to the opposing Air Force. As Corsairs come in and kill off the nuke launcher that was almost done building a nuke. Oh, that's brutal. He'll be able to build that nuke launcher back very quickly if he feels like it, but the air blunder out from Shady Sox, not having a shield over that, is almost criminal. In 53 ASFs, he does win the ASF war off of that, I believe, 53 versus 40, but is that going to be enough? He now has air control, which is good for his team, but he lost the nuke, and I'm pretty sure there's no anti-nuke built for anybody other than our Blue Cybern over here, who doesn't have an anti-nuke loaded. He has everything paused. We don't even have an anti-nuke up yet for the rock player, Killer Bishy. He has just decided, They spotted the nuke launcher, I'm pretty sure about it. We have in the chat, nuke, yep, showed up a little bit earlier. Homeless man with 3 nuke subs says communism is bad. Oh man, I'm assuming that you are Geneva Convention, or Convention, as you fucking your name should be. The comm of Solar now moving over towards the base of Duma mods, which is a interesting tactic. He still doesn't have an anti-nuke built. He has one building right now. Do we have another nuke spammed up by Shady Sox? We do. We have 2 nukes, in fact. The first one's already finished. The second nuke is on the way. Is he able to afford this? He has mass in the bank, so this is going to be Very, very good for him. As long as he can keep his mass balance, which I'm sure he will, especially once this stops building, it's gonna be a lot less mass being used. He's using hives to build it, and it's very expensive. But you know, once they are done building it, then you of course have the situation where the mass rate's gonna get better. I'm assuming. I'm waiting until it's done so I can be vindicated and be told I'm right. Yeah, mass situation got a lot better, getting a lot of mass sent to him by his teammates as he's trying to build a lot of stuff at once. But of course, having that double economy gifted to him by Printer, didn't even have to have Printer actually die to get it. Printer control K-ing himself. Very dirty play earlier on. Feels like a lifetime ago, as we have destroyers up here in the top left-hand corner. Troubled Panda just absolutely will not give up this Navy. Twice now he's managed to come up to this top left-hand corner and get back into the Navy, but this time I don't think it's going to happen, as about 40 frigates are coming over here to have a nice little chat with this naval base that's been built up. There's some torpedo defense going up, but that's not going to be quite enough, and we always have destroyers in case they want to deal with it. The base that had a bunch of T2 artillery has managed to die, so that is going to be quite the sadness moment over here for Arma. Arma even giving his mass extractors over to Shady Socks. This is Team Shady versus Team Solar. Actually, it's not just Solar. Dumamods is doing quite a bit. Dumamods is the reason that like most of this is happening. Other than the air saving him. The air did save him, Solar saved him, but Dumamods has used that savioration quite well. A Plan B nuke sub finishing up for Dumamods, managing to get that nuclear weapon platform. 2 of them, in fact, has finished. We have, of course, Shady Socks with 2 nuke launchers, which are much better than nuke subs, finished up. Do we have anti-nukes loaded for either of these players? This one's not even close to loaded. Of course, there's no way for Shady Socks to be able to know if they're loaded or not. So these nukes are probably going to finish before the nuke defenses are loaded. This one will be loaded in time, but a strap bomber snipe that I almost missed kills off Solar. Shady Socks kills off Solar with a strap bomber snipe. And oh my word, I'm so happy I didn't miss that. Whew, okay. Wow, so now we're looking at a game. It's Team Dumamods versus Team Shady Socks now. Let's see if Dumamods can manage to wrestle his way back into the air game. There's a lot of ASFs over here, but this is gonna be a win for Shady Socks. Shady Socks gonna have so much more ASFs. Solar is super salty in the chat. Fucking lucky, fucking lame shit. Pathfinding told it to go in water 10 minutes ago. He's so salty. He's so unhappy. That's such a salty boy. He's sad. Angry boy. Somebody give that man a cookie. He needs more sweetness in his life. As there are ASFs going down to the ASFs of Shady Socks. Shady Socks in a strong position now as Teleporter starts on Shady Socks. He pauses everything and says, I got this. Time for me to go Mazer. Admittedly, him going Mazer, though, is a exceptionally risky play. Him going Mazer basically means that, like, he's opening up his comm to dying. I don't think you need Mazer to win this. I think you have such an air advantage that you could just strap bomb the rest of the match to death. But he is going for the teleporter. I don't know where he's going to teleport to. It's not like he can get the comm of Dumamods with a teleport. He would die well before he gets up the torpedo launchers. He couldn't get the comm of Killer Bishy, so he must be going for one of these bases. Either Dumamods. He could go for Bishy's base. I mean, if he thinks killing off Bishy will help. Or you could go for the air grid even. The air grid not quite protected against teleport laser attack. Teleporter has finished up. Laser on the way. Getting these upgrades exceptionally quickly. We'll have to keep an eye on where he decides to send that comm. But Shady Socks coming in with a blinder of a game. Managing to win from the jaws of defeat. Did look very bad. When Solar had the air control, it looked like Shady was going to be in a rough position, had a lot to manage, but manages to get the air grid from his dead air player, Printer, and build it up to a point where he is just unassailable in the skies. Alright, laser is done. Is the comm teleporting? It is. Let's see where that goes. It looks like there's a lot of scouts over here, so I'm just going to look over here. And yep, here is where the comm is going to be teleporting into. And he comes in with the mazer, is going to be really close. Wow, took a lot of damage that he probably didn't need to by being too close to that power generator. But I think he feels quite safe, as T1 bombers do come out, but aren't going to be able to get this done, and they're also just not targeted onto the comm. And there are ASF here to protect him from all that. He's also getting a fuck ton of veterancy and is already up to 19,000 HP, about to be even higher if he gets off a few more kills onto some structures. He'll definitely get that next rank of veterancy as he teleports probably back to base. Yep, he's teleporting right here. And over, we have gun speed and range on the way for Dumamods. I don't know if that's going to help you, fam. And Dumamods in a tough position. Strat Bomber's coming in, going to be able to kill off the anti-nuke, and he has 2 nukes loaded, doesn't he? Oh, the first nuke is loaded, the second nuke is a gnat's ball hair away from finishing. And there we go, both nukes have finished. He can nuke the base over here, and if he kills off this, he can nuke the anti-nuke here. If he kills off the anti-nuke, he can nuke this area that Dumamods spawned in, the beach. And that might be it. That might be all she wrote. And that's gonna be it. Damn. Shady Socks coming in with the W. As one might say, gentlemen, strategic launch detected. We got him. And here it comes, the beautiful travesty, the end of a war that has ravaged the planet of Setons. And the end of a beautiful game. The nukes, they are coming. And the bases, they are blowing up. And the casters, they are shutting up. And the desyncs, they are happening. Boom. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. And that's game. Really quick, I'd like to thank my patrons, Timothy Calderwood, Sergeant Syphilis, Nogthar, and we have a new one added to the list also. If you're on YouTube, there's a new little scrolly thing. I've upgraded. I'm more professional, but a new one added to the list, Mutant Gene Pool, for subscribing at the $4 or more a month over on Patreon. If you want to support me financially, you can always check me out over there. If you're watching on Twitch, fuck you, pay me, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment if you feel like it. And I'm done attention whoring, so you have a beautiful day, you beautiful people, and I'll see you in the next cast.